Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have the fourth video in my Christmas in July series, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to start by cutting down my cardstock. You guys know this is kind of my preference, so I know what I'm working with. So I do have 4 A2 sized bases, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm cutting my black mat to be about 1/8 of an inch short or smaller than my A2 base, and then my colored panel, or my hammer mill panel, which is where I'm going to add my snowflakes to, is going to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than my A2 base. So you get like a thin layer all the way around. I love that bordered look. You could skip this step if it wasn't your preference, but I do think that the black helps the color stand out, and it also helps tie the black sentiment in a little better. So I do kind of have that preference, but you could skip the step if layering wasn't your preference. You could just have the white outline from the background on the panel, and that would still give you a pretty cool look. So once everything's cut down, I did create some little squares. So my die, I'm using the Snowflake from the Vault Winter Wishes dies. You guys have seen this die on my channel many, many times. I love it. It's my favorite snowflake die, and I cut some squares down to 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 because that fits the die perfectly. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to ink blend on these squares. I thought it would be better to ink blend the lightest color first, just because I thought that made the most sense with how I was going to die cut this. And then I'm going to bring in the darker color of my oxides once the snowflake is actually cut, and just go around the outside, giving the snowflakes a little bit of variation. And do keep in mind, these are going to dry back as well. They look quite vibrant here. I mean, they're going to be vibrant. They're vibrant colors, but they will dry back. So keep that in mind if that's not your preference. I do want to say though, I love rainbows. You guys know this if you've been with me for any length of time. I love the rainbow palette. It makes me smile. It makes me happy. And of course, I like non-traditional Christmas cards. So that is also something I lean towards. However, if this isn't your color palette, you don't prefer it, you could easily recreate this card and do it with, blues and purples, or reds and greens and a gold instead of the holographic snowflake I'm going to cut. You can really tailor it to be whatever it is you would like it to be. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to create what makes me smile, just like you should create what makes you smile. So you pick whatever color palette you like. If rainbows aren't your thing, perfectly okay. Just take the ideas that I bring and turn them into something that fits your palette a little bit better. I don't actually enjoy red and green together as a general rule. They're very contrasting. I'm not a big fan of red. I think that's my biggest issue. I don't really like the color red. I prefer pink if I'm going to go that direction. So I tend to avoid it. But you could easily recreate this in multiple colors. And if you don't want to use inks, use sprays. Instead of ink blending on those, you could easily have sprayed them. Do it with watercolor paper, of course, at that point, or a heavier paper, but you could easily do sprayed instead of ink blended if that's something you prefer. There's so many things to do. If you had a really pretty pattern paper you wanted to use for this, keep in mind that this is a fairly holy snowflake, so because of that you do lose a lot of the patterning in the background. That's why I'm going for a mostly solid color, but there's so many ways you could change this up and make this your own. So keep that in mind. Just take my inspiration and run with it in a way that makes you happy, because that is my whole goal with my creating. So I've done all of my colors, and for my oxides I used Kitsch Flamingo, carved pumpkin, squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, tumbled glass, and shaded lilac. I had to think about that because I am going to bring in darker versions of the colors once all my snowflakes are cut and ready to go. So I had to think about what colors I used there. And then I am going to use my pokey tool and just poke them out. So here you can see I have 2 of each color in the blended pieces. And then I have 4 of the holographic. It's because I want a majority of one holographic on each card, as you would have seen in the beginning. You're going to see when I lay them out that I'm trying really hard not to have the center of the snowflake on the card. You'll see it when we kind of start laying it out, so it'll make more sense, but that's kind of what I was thinking. So I've got 2 of each color, but I'm going to create 4 cards with these snowflakes. You could of course do more if you wanted to. I thought it was kind of neat to have all of them sticking off the edge. It kind of just gives you the look like there's more going on outside of what you can see. And I think that's a really fun design choice. It's not something I generally do. I do tend to put the full image on the card front, but I was trying to do something different. I do find, and you guys will see, I've actually at this point created everything I need for this month because I'm actually tearing my office apart, or my crafty space, because we're redoing the floors in our house and I want to paint. I want to do a really cool dusty rose feature wall in my office, or my crafty space. I call it my office. It's the same thing. So I have to tear my whole office apart, move all the furniture, take everything out so the floors can be done. And then, after the floors have been done, I wish I had had the time to do this the other direction, but I did not. So once the floors are being done, I'm going to paint, because we're actually out of town while the floors are being done. So yeah, it's just a crazy thing. So I actually finished all of the cards for July and a portion of August by the 8th of July. So I am going to voice over them all here pretty soon too. So if I say something weird that you're like, yes, Ciara, you already said that, forgive me. It's just, I'm a little frazzled trying to get everything complete. I have some traveling to do this month. Like I said, our floors are being done. We're going to paint. Like, it's just, there's a lot going on. So I'm a little frazzled. So just bear with me as I work through everything. But you will see this snowflake die pop up a lot in these videos because it is my favorite. And I wait 4 months to bust out my Christmas cards. So if you don't like snowflakes, you could easily change this card up. If you had a flower that had some negative space, that would be a great addition to this card instead of the snowflakes. You could easily turn it into a birthday card, or a thinking of you card, or anything you wanted, really. A thanks card, whatever. Like, you could change these card designs. If you didn't want a Christmas card or you don't celebrate, you could easily change them up and do something completely different. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. And you will see me do a white and gold card a little later. Sadly, it's a design I'd already done and I completely forgot. We'll talk about it when we get to that card. But I do have a white and gold card coming if that's something you enjoy from my collection. I haven't done that in a while, actually. I used to do white and gold cards all the time, and I kind of have gone away from that and done a lot more vibrant colors. But we will have one in the Christmas series. So if that's something you enjoy, you look out for that. And then for the other colors that I kind of added on the edges of my snowflakes, I have picked raspberry, ripe persimmon, mustard seed, mowed lawn, broken china, and wilted violet. So it's kind of what I'm going over. And I'm just doing it on the outside. Again, keep in mind it will dry back a little bit. So I did actually create this first card. I'm showing this to you in a bit of a different order because I needed to know how to put my sentiment on, and I couldn't get it to stamp nicely with all the snowflakes hanging off of it. So I did kind of put that card together. I will show you. I'll put two together. We'll do it together and you'll see what I'm kind of aiming for. But I did have to build one so that I could stamp on all of them, knowing what the placement needed to be and how I wanted everything to line up. So that's why I'm showing you that. So you can see that I have already actually created one of the panels, but we will do that together here in a second. So I picked out one of my favoriteest Christmas sentiments from the Christmas Blessing stamps from Simon Says Stamp. You guys know, if you've seen any of my Christmas videos, pretty much, I love this stamp set. It is my favorite. I love it so much. It just has beautiful mixed fonts, and I love a mixed font. That's one of my favorite things. So I reach for this stamp set pretty much all the time for all of my Christmas videos just because I love it so much. But here you can see I'm going to line up my snowflakes kind of around the sentiment. And I'm going to layer them. And there's only two where the center will actually touch the card base or panel. You can see that the pink one on the top corner there is going to touch it. And the holographic one on the bottom left corner, the bottom right corner will touch it. Hopefully I got my measurements correct there. Sometimes my videos are mirrored, so I make mistakes when I say that. So the pink one in the top left corner and the holographic one in the bottom right corner will be, the center will actually be on the card. For every other one, I lined it up so that the center was not on the card. This is because that leaves me the majority of a snowflake to do on a second card, and it made it easier for me to line it up and cut some off when I went to do the second card with the leftovers. You'll see that here in a minute because I will show you doing both versions, just in case you need that help. But there's no right or wrong here. Like, I didn't want pieces not to be on the card, if that makes sense. Like, I want the panel to have a majority of a snowflake so that you get the idea of what I'm going for, but I need enough left that I can do a second card with it. So I'm going to cut them from the back. I'm going to be really careful how I cut them. The holographic one doesn't matter. Each card gets a holographic. But with the pink snowflake, I have to be careful when I cut it because I want to reuse the majority of that pink snowflake on the next card design. Now, I'm going to switch up the colors. So you saw that I did the blue, green, and the purple on the bottom of the last one with the holographic. I've switched that. They're now on the top, and on the bottom, we have the orange, yellow, pink, and holographic. The holographic stays in the same spot. It doesn't move. That's just because I like how the shine was down in the bottom. You could switch it to the top, but I kind of like it to have a bit more, like you have 4 snowflakes on the bottom and 3 on the top. That's just a design choice. You guys know that I prefer uneven numbers. That's always going to be true. It's just easier on the eye. The eye doesn't try to make patterns out of uneven numbers. So it just generally design-wise looks nicer. But you can do, there's no right or wrong in art. And if someone's going to run around telling you that it's wrong, they aren't the art police. Tell them to go away and just make what you want to make that makes you happy. Because realistically, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like something you've created. That's just human nature, really, and personal preference. Art is in the eye of the beholder. I think that everything you create is going to be phenomenal, just because I think creating is phenomenal. So I think that doing anything creative is just a great expression. It's a great thing for your soul. It's a good thing. So if someone's running around telling you that your stuff is garbage, just ignore them. Move on with your day. I mean, if you want to improve your designs, that might be something. Maybe you need to work on your color theory, maybe, that kind of stuff. But there's no wrong way to create, I don't know. Hopefully, guys, I'm just going on a tangent now because it just bothers me when people run around telling others that their stuff isn't good enough, or I really don't like that. Because who are you to say that to somebody? And it's always easy to say that if you don't create yourself. That is one thing I've found. As a kind of beginner artist, you guys would know if you've been following me for a bit. I'm newer to watercolor. I share that on the channel, and I'm working on sticker sheets that are completely hand drawn by me. And it's always so easy to sit there and criticize something you've never tried to do yourself. And I think that's always kind of interesting because it's like, if you're not going to give it a go yourself, how can you even have an opinion about how easy or hard something was to create? Because and if someone's good at something, you watch them and you're like, oh, that looks so easy. Well, yeah, because they're good at it. You know what I mean? I've seen some of, Tim Holtz is one who comes to my mind. He just, his creating is just always so interesting to watch because he's so good at it. And it seems to come so easily to him. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it's months, years and years of practice and years of playing with the product and whatnot, right? But when you see him do it, it seems like it's so simple, but it isn't. Not really, So people who are amazing at something, it always comes across like it's so easy to do. And that just tells you how good they are at their craft because it's just awesome to watch. Anyway, that's my tangent of the day. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm having a day. Anyway, so I've adhered all the stuff. You saw me build all the cards. And of course, if you ever have any questions, please ask them. I'm more than happy to respond. I do respond to all comments. Sometimes it takes me a little bit, but I do always answer. So if you've left me a question, I will have responded to you. I'm pretty sure I'm 100% caught up at the moment. So if you asked me a question, go back to the video you asked the question on and you will have a response from me. If it didn't give you a notification, I think it notifies you when I respond. But yeah, if you ever have any questions for me, please ask them. I'm more than happy to answer. If you ever, want to know something, I'm more than happy to answer it. So please leave that for me in the comments. And I'd love if you'd consider subscribing. I have a goal of hitting 20,000 by the end of the year. I don't know how attainable that is, but we have to dream big. So if you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. It does tell YouTube that, my videos are worth watching, and then they usually push them out to more new people. So if you like the video, you subscribe, you leave me a comment, all that stuff, it kind of signals to YouTube that this is good content and they should share it to other people. So if you wouldn't mind, that would be phenomenal. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much because you are helping my dreams come true, and I can't express what that means to me. And if you've signed up as a member, you are phenomenal. Thank you so much. You guys make it possible for me to create free content for everybody to enjoy. So I can't express enough how much I appreciate everybody's support. It's kind of a crazy dream when you want to, and it depends on people supporting you. So it's always a bit crazy. So thank you so much. So I have kind of built the cards here. They're all adhered. I'm going to adhere some gems onto the cards just because that's kind of my way. You could skip this step. I just like how it looks. And I did, of course, put one in the center of the 2 snowflakes that are fully on the card. Again, just because I like how that looks. You can skip this step if you don't want to. And you did see me splatter on a little bit of perfect pearls, a super subtle sparkle, but I love it in the back. And honestly, I just... Christmas cards are kind of like my go-to for all the things shiny and sparkly. So you're going to see here in a second when I hold them up and tip them in the light, how cool they look with the extra glitter in the background of the card panel. And I did wait until everything was kind of on there before I did that. You could do it on the snowflakes beforehand if you wanted to, but then I'd have to wait for them to dry, and I didn't want to. So I just waited until this part and added it on. So here I'm going to hold them up and show you them all in their glory. I love how this card set turned out. It's pretty neat. It's very different than what I generally create. At least I think it turned out pretty cool. And then I did use a stamp on the inside. That was from the Tim Holtz Stamptember 2022 stamp set. You can't get that anymore, but use any snowflake you have. And then I just I used the lightest colors of oxides and used those on the inside to stamp. So that is the card I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.